Imagine reaching the age of 75 to 85 and still doing what most people gave up decades ago. Not just surviving, but standing out. Because at that stage in life, the rules change, energy fades, the world slows down, and many quietly step aside, but a rare few refuse. If you can still do these 6 things at that age, you are not ordinary. You are not average. You are one of a kind. And what you are about to hear might completely change how you see aging forever. But before I reveal the secret, do not forget to press the like button, subscribe, and write your opinion in the comments column. Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to tell you, I have seen again and again. In people who thought they had more time. I have spent decades watching patients age. Some of them walked into my office in their 80s, steady, alert, independent. Others, they came in slower, quieter, already losing pieces of themselves. And the truth is difficult to accept. It was not luck. It was not genetics. It was not fate. It was daily habits. Small ones. Almost invisible ones. The kind no one talks about. The kind people ignore. Until something begins to slip. There is a name for people who age differently. You may have heard it. Super Agers. People who remain sharp in their minds and strong in their bodies. Well into their late 70s and beyond. But here is what most people misunderstand. They are not special. They are not doing extreme workouts. They are not taking expensive treatments. They are simply doing a few things. Consistently, quietly, every single day. And those few things change everything. So I want you to imagine something 10 years from now. Someone looks at you and says, "You have not changed at all." Your mind is clear. Your body still responds. You are still in control of your life. Now imagine the opposite. Forgetting simple things, feeling weaker, needing help, for things you used to do without thinking. That future does not arrive suddenly. It builds slowly, silently, from what you do every morning. And that is where we begin. There is one habit, so simple, that most people dismiss it immediately. But I want you to stay with me, because I have seen what happens when this one habit is ignored. Tell me honestly, when you wake up, what do you do first? Do you stay in bed? Do you let your thoughts drift? Do you sit in a dim room with the curtains still closed? It feels harmless, even comforting. But inside your body, something important is waiting. Your brain is waiting for a signal, a very specific signal. Without it, your entire system begins to fall out of rhythm. That signal is morning light. The people I have seen remain mentally sharp. Past 80, almost all do this without thinking. They wake up and they open the curtains. Immediately, no delay, no negotiation. Light enters the eyes. And in that moment, the brain begins to wake up properly. A chemical is released, serotonin. You may have heard that name before. But what matters is what it does. It stabilizes your mood. It sharpens your focus. It tells your body, this is the beginning of the day. And then something even more important happens. As the hours pass, that same chemical changes form. It becomes melatonin, the very thing your body needs to fall into deep sleep at night. So let me ask you something. If your body never receives that signal in the morning, what do you think happens later? Sleep becomes lighter, shorter, unstable, and poor sleep does not stay in the night. It follows you into the day. You feel slower, more tired, less motivated to move. And over time, this creates a dangerous pattern. Less movement leads to weakness. Weakness leads to dependence. I have watched this pattern unfold more times than I can count. There was a man I once treated, 78 years old, no major illness, no serious diagnosis, but he kept telling me the same thing. I just do not feel like myself anymore. When we looked at his routine, something stood out. Every morning, his room stayed dark, curtains closed, lights off. Hours would pass before he saw real daylight. It seemed insignificant, but it was enough. Enough to slowly disrupt his energy, his sleep, his clarity. Now let me show you the other side. Another patient, 82, living alone, still active, still sharp. His morning routine never changed. He woke up, walked to the window, and opened the curtains every day, rain or shine. That simple act was not a coincidence. It was discipline. It was awareness. And it protected him. Here is something most people do not realize. Even when the sky is cloudy, even when there is no direct sunlight, natural light is still powerful. It still reaches your eyes. It still sends that signal. You do not need perfect conditions. You just need to show up. So tomorrow morning, I want you to try something different. Before you reach for anything else, stand up, walk to the window, open the curtains so let the light reach your eyes. Stay there for a moment. Do nothing else, because in that quiet moment, your body begins to reset itself. And that reset, repeated day after day, becomes your foundation. Now here is what concerns me. Most people will hear this and do nothing, not because they do not care, but because it sounds too simple, too small. But the habits that destroy your health are often the quiet ones, the ones that feel harmless. You are still here, which means you are paying attention, and that matters more than you think. Now, there is something else I need to show you. It happens right after you wake up, something almost everyone does, without questioning it, and it may be quietly working against your body every single morning. In the next part, I will explain what that is and why one simple choice can either support your system or slowly weaken it over time. Let me ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you drink? Most people do not even think about it. They reach for whatever is closest. Cold water, coffee, something quick, something familiar. It feels harmless. It feels normal. But this is where I start to see a pattern, a quiet mistake that shows up again and again in people whose bodies begin to slow down too early. You see, your body is not fully awake when you open your eyes, not on the inside. During the night, your internal temperature drops, your system slows, your organs rest, and as you age, this becomes even more delicate. Your body does not warm up as easily as it used to. It takes more care, more awareness. Now imagine this. You take that resting system, and the very first thing you do is pour something cold into it. Your body reacts instantly, but not in a good way. The digestive system tightens, blood flow slows. The stomach becomes less efficient. It is like trying to force a cold engine to run at full speed. You can do it, but something inside is strained. I have seen this in many patients. They complain of slow digestion, bloating, discomfort that seems to come out of nowhere. And often, it begins with how they start their morning. Now compare that to something very different. The people who remain strong, who maintain energy, who recover faster, often follow a simple ritual. They drink warm water, not hot, not cold, just warm, close to body temperature. It sounds almost too simple, but this small decision reveals something deeper. It shows that they are listening to their body, not rushing it, not shocking it awake, but guiding it gently. As that warmth enters the stomach, something changes. The digestive system begins to activate. Smoothly, naturally, blood circulation improves. The organs wake up without resistance, and the entire body begins to move in rhythm. There is something else most people never consider. When your internal temperature rises slightly, even by a small amount, your immune system responds. It becomes more active, more alert, more capable. So that simple glass of warm water is not just hydration. It is preparation. Preparation for everything your body needs to do that day. I once spoke to a woman in her early 80s. She lived alone, still cooked for herself, still went out for walks. I asked her what her mornings looked like. She smiled and said, "I always start with warm water. I give my body time to wake up." That sentence stayed with me because it was not just a habit. It was respect. Respect for a body that had carried her for decades. Now let me show you the other side. I had another patient, 75, always in a hurry, even in retirement. He would wake up, grab cold water from the refrigerator, drink it quickly, and move on. He thought he was doing something healthy. But over time, he began to notice changes: slower digestion, less energy, more discomfort. Nothing dramatic, just a gradual decline. And that is how it always happens. Not in one moment, but through repetition. Now there is another layer to this habit, one that most people completely overlook. The act itself: boiling water, pouring it into a cup, waiting for it to cool just enough. That pause, that quiet moment, it changes something in your mind. You are no longer rushing into the day. You are entering it with intention, and that intention matters more than people realize, because the way you begin your morning often determines how the rest of your day unfolds. If you start in a rush, your body stays in that state, tense, reactive, unsettled. But if you begin slowly, with awareness, your system follows that rhythm, calm, steady, controlled. So tomorrow morning, I want you to try something. Before coffee, before anything cold, prepare a glass of warm water. Hold it. Feel the warmth. Drink it slowly. Pay attention to how your body responds. Because this is not just about hydration. It is about how you treat your body in its most vulnerable moment of the day. Now here is what most people will do. They will hear this and go back to their old routine. Because again, it feels too small to matter. But I have seen where that thinking leads. Small neglect becomes long-term damage. And by the time people notice, it is much harder to reverse. You are still here, which tells me something. You are not like most people. You are willing to pay attention, to adjust, to protect what you still have. Now, we are about to move into something even more critical. Because what you put into your body next, after that water, may quietly determine whether you stay strong or begin to lose muscle year after year. And this loss is one of the main reasons people lose independence. Now we come to something most people overlook until they feel the consequences in their own body. Let me ask you honestly, what did you eat this morning? Or maybe the better question is, did you eat anything at all? I have heard it many times. I am not hungry in the morning. So people settle for something small. A piece of toast, a cup of coffee, maybe nothing. It feels light, easy, harmless. But this is where a slow and dangerous process begins, one that does not show up overnight. While you sleep, your body is not completely at rest. Something important is happening. Your muscles are breaking down. It is a natural process, but when you wake up, your body expects something in return. It needs materials to rebuild. And if those materials do not come, your body makes a decision. It begins to break down even more muscle, to create energy. Now pause and think about that. Each morning you skip proper nourishment. You may be quietly losing strength, not in a way you can feel immediately, but over months, over years. It adds up. This is how people begin to feel weaker, unstable, less confident on their feet, and eventually, dependent. There is a condition we see often, age-related muscle loss. It does not happen suddenly. It happens through small daily choices. Now here is what I noticed in people who stayed strong, those who could still walk freely, climb stairs, carry their own groceries, well into their 80s. They all shared one simple pattern. They made sure to include protein in their morning, not complicated meals, not anything extreme, just a clear decision. Eggs, yogurt, beans, fish, simple foods, but enough to give their body what it needed, because they understood something most people ignore. Muscle is not just about strength. It is about independence. It is what allows you to stand up without help, to walk without fear, to live without relying on others. I remember a man, 80 years old, still living on his own, still active. When I asked him about his routine, he said something very simple. I always give my body something to work with in the morning. That was his mindset. Now compare that to another patient, 76, thin, low appetite, so breakfast was always the same. Coffee, sometimes toast. At first, It seemed fine. But slowly, he began to lose strength. His steps became smaller. His balance less stable. Nothing dramatic, just a quiet decline. And by the time he noticed it, it was already difficult to reverse. This is what concerns me. Not the big mistakes, but the small ones repeated every day. Now listen carefully. This does not have to be complicated. You do not need to cook elaborate meals. You do not need to change everything overnight. Even something small can make a difference. A boiled egg, a cup of yogurt, a handful of beans, prepared ahead of time, ready when you wake up, and what matters is the decision. The decision to support your body instead of neglecting it. Because every morning, you are either building something or slowly losing it. There is no middle ground. Now I want you to think about your future again. 10 years from now, when you stand up from a chair, will it feel effortless? Or will it take effort, support, hesitation? That future is being shaped right now by what you do in the morning. And here is something most people never realize. Strength is not built in the gym alone. It is built in the kitchen, in small daily choices, in moments when no one is watching. Now, if you are still with me, there is something even more surprising coming next. Because staying sharp is not only about what you eat or what you drink. It is also about something much smaller, something you do with your hands. Every single day, and this one habit has a direct connection to your brain in ways that most people never understand. In the next part, I will show you how something as simple as using your fingers can either protect your mind or allow it to slowly decline. This is where things become even more unexpected. Do not miss it.